Hey guys, what's up and welcome to the unboxing and quick review of the Smartisan Nut Pro 2. I honestly never thought I would review a Smartisan phone because they're usually so expensive, but this one's actually not that expensive. So once you guys finish watching this video, I highly recommend you guys enter the giveaway in the description down below. Entering is super easy, it takes 5 seconds and it's free. So I've got a phone here that I never thought I would review, and that would be the Smartisan Nut Pro 2. Let's take a quick look at the specifications before we continue. So in terms of specs, we have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 660, a 12 megapixel plus 5 megapixel camera, and a 16 megapixel camera as well. It's got Smartisan OS, which I'm actually not sure how well it will do because I really don't like MIUI that much anymore. I'm a stock guy, and I don't know if Smartisan will scratch that itch for me. The other thing is it also has 4 to 6 gigabytes of RAM and 32 to 128 gigabytes of storage. Now, the other thing to note is that this thing has quite a few network bands. This is probably one of the few Snapdragon 660 phones that will work in both US and Canada, which is quite rare because you have bands 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8. So let's get on with the unboxing now. So Smartisan is one of those companies that I never thought I would review because they were too expensive. I actually have a Chinese colleague who kept on asking me to review a Smartisan phone, but I always said no because they were too expensive. And it actually changes with this Nut Pro 2 because for the specs, this phone actually isn't that expensive. But let's look at what we have in the box inside first. As you can see here, we have the cover, the screen protector. I'm going to put the phone aside and we'll look at what else we have in the box first. And here we have a SIM popper as well as some Chinese words that I am able to read, but I need some time. My Chinese is not that great. And here we have the manual, which is most likely in Chinese as well. So it's going to be pretty useless for 99% of people out there. And here we have a USB-C cable as well as a microphone to USB-C jack, which means this phone does not have a microphone jack. And here we have a charger. So let's put all this stuff aside and talk about the phone itself. Wow, this phone is actually very clean. And the other thing to note is that my first impression of this phone is that it's actually very light as well. If you compare it to my Mi Note 3, the Mi Note 3 is definitely heavier. And you compare it as well to my Elephone S9. The Elephone S9 definitely feels heavier as well. The back of the phone here, it feels like glass. It could be glass or plastic, but I'm fairly certain it's glass. And I'm a little bit disappointed because I don't like glass backs. I prefer metal backs as they're more sturdy, but we'll have to settle here. And as you can see, it's pretty fingerprinty, so the fingerprints will show up pretty easily on this phone, and you probably can't keep it that clean even if you try. And here we have the Smartisan logo, which is a hammer, and then we also have the camera, the secondary camera, and the LED flash. And if you look over here, you can see that the primary camera does stick out from the body at the back a little bit, so you do have to be careful if you're putting it down on flat ground. And here we have the buttons. This is a little bit of a departure from regular buttons. Regular buttons are usually square like this, but here we have the buttons kind of round. We have the power buttons and the volume buttons on this side. And here we actually have an extra button and a SIM slot as well. And as you can see, there is a gold line running all the way around the phone. I'm not sure if this is aesthetic or is that the antenna band. Either way, it does look fairly good. And we have nothing on the top because there is no headphone jack except for a microphone. And we also have the USB-C as well as the speaker grills over here. And sadly, there is no NFC or wireless charging here, and it's also not waterproof either. 3 things that I would have liked to see, but those are niceties. So let's turn this phone on and see what we got. So I've turned on the phone and set up my Google account, and my first impressions is that I really don't like the Smartisan skin, but I will admit it is very well implemented, very smooth, and very fast. Like, look at this. It pretty much looks exactly like Apple, and that is something I really don't like. Not just because it's like Apple, but because I never liked the aesthetic. However, stuff generally feels very smooth and very nice to use. It is a Snapdragon 660 phone after all. However, this phone feels very nice and very fast to use. It is a Snapdragon 660 phone after all, and I really hope they'll let me launch Google Now Launcher and let me use it as my home because I really would want them to be able to let me, oh, nice. So it will let me use it. That's awesome. Bye-bye Smartisan Launcher. That was easy and fast. Thank you, Smartisan. All right, so now let's take a quick look at the display. So let's look at the screen now. This is an LCD screen, so it probably won't be as good or nice looking as the AMOLED display, but let's take a look at what we have. And to be honest, this LCD display looks very nice and very saturated. I'm actually quite impressed. And you can see that the clarity on the screen is actually quite superb. I would say that this screen is a little bit of a darker tone, but I really do like that. And it really looks nice and dramatic as well. I really like the contrast as well, and you can see the colors between pretty much every leaf on the tree is very well defined. And just look at this photo. It's so nice and crisp, and the greens are very deep green, and the water droplets are crystal clear as well. But I will test it out to see what other things I can glean from the information on the screen as well. I don't know if this is Gorilla Glass on the screen, but we'll find out later. Now let's listen to a little clip from Binging with Babish to see what the sound sounds like as well.
Into Hushwe, a Lebanese wild rice and lamb stuffing that I think would probably go best with something like a pomegranate sauce. So now it's time to deal with our hens. Spray down with nonstick spray, and this great little trick comes from America's Test Kitchen. Preheat your oven to 500 degrees Fahrenheit with an aluminum sheet pan inside it. Then place the birds skin side down on the sheet pan. This is going to get them crisping up. Bake for 10 minutes.
I don't know if that trick is true, but I'm definitely going to try it or ask my mom to try it. So I'm going to repeat what I said before. This phone is very fast and very fluid, but I do not like the aesthetic that Smartisan OS is going for. It looks very iOS-y, and it's not even like new iOS, it's old iOS. And as you can see, everything looks kind of dated, and I really don't like it. Let's click on this button over here, and you can see that these is where you find the quick settings and the multitask manager as well. Honestly, I don't like how it looks, but I will admit it is very fast. But I will test this phone out to see how it is and whether you should buy this phone as your daily driver or not. That being said, this phone is actually fairly cheap for the price. For a Snapdragon 660 phone, it's not typical Smartisan prices. It actually competes directly with the Elephone U Pro, which again, this is not the cheapest Snapdragon 660 phone. That honor actually goes to Xiaomi with the Xiaomi Mi Note 3. So these are all Snapdragon 660 phones. The Mi Note 3 is the cheapest, followed by I think the Elephone U Pro, and then the Smartisan is the most expensive. However, I do hope that this goes on sale sometime soon as well. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to enter the giveaway in the description down below. It takes 5 seconds and it's free. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.